Viewer discretion is advised.
The bullet went in right here and went through, came through the nose. It felt like I got hit with a sledgehammer. It was 1, 2, 3, pass the gun, 4, 5, 6, and I was the 7th one.
I have 2 children alive and 1 in heaven.
It was just a good day. Like, you know, you always have one of those really good days, and then something happens.
4 young employees vanish from a burger chef in Indiana, only to be found brutally murdered days later. The Wendy's in Queens turns into a massacre site with 5 employees killed in a horrific robbery. In Texas, 5 people are brutally slain in a KFC restaurant, leaving a community in shock. Welcome to Crime Films. Today, we delve into the chilling and tragic tales of 3 notorious cases that have haunted their communities for decades. The Burger Chef Murders, the Wendy's Massacre, and the KFC Murders. Join us as we explore the mysteries, the investigations, and the profound impacts these cases have had on their communities. If you find our content compelling, please subscribe to Crime Films and hit the like button. Your support helps us bring more stories like these to light. The Burger Chef Murders. In the quiet corners of American towns, where families gather and friends meet over casual meals, darkness has sometimes fallen. November 17th, 1978, Speedway, Indiana. A typical Friday evening at the local Burger Chef turned into a night of horror. 4 young employees, eager to close up and enjoy their weekend, vanished without a trace. The small-town sense of security shattered along with the family's hearts.
You know, when I was walking around, I did walk in the manager's office, and I noticed that the safe is sitting wide open, cash drawers are laid out. And that's when I called somebody, and they told me to call the police.
The initial scene misled investigators to believe a minor robbery had occurred, but the discovery of 4 bodies 2 days later in a nearby wooded area revealed a far more sinister reality. The brutality of the murders, a mix of stabbing, bludgeoning, and shooting, left the community reeling and the police scrambling for leads. As the investigation unfolded, suspects and theories emerged, from local troublemakers to organized crime involvement. Yet the lack of concrete evidence and missteps in the early stages of the case led to dead ends. The families of the victims, enduring decades of grief, still hold out hope for closure.
Mom had gone and picked her up from school, and she just literally just ran through the house, hi, and changed into her uniform, ran back down the hall and out the garage, bye, and that was it.
The KFC Murders. On the evening of September 23, 1983, the town of Kilgore, Texas, became the scene of a crime that would haunt its residents for years to come. An armed robbery at a local Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant escalated into a mass murder, leaving 5 individuals dead and a community in shock. The victims, Opie Hughes, Joey Johnson, Monty Landers, David Maxwell, and Mary Tyler, were abducted from the restaurant just before closing time. They were taken to a remote field and executed with a shot to the back of the head. The brutality of the crime sent ripples of fear throughout East Texas.
The case was cold for more than 20 years when 2 cousins were convicted for killing Mary Tyler, Opie Hughes, Joey Johnson, David Maxwell, and Monty Landers.
For 22 years, the case remained unsolved, casting a shadow over Kilgore. The breakthrough came with the advancement of forensic science, leading to the arrest of 2 men already serving time for other crimes. Despite the convictions, the case leaves behind unanswered questions and a legacy of grief. The Kilgore KFC murders remind us of the fragility of life and the enduring quest for justice.
Joey Johnson, Monty Landers.
I don't know any of them.
You don't know any of them?
Never seen them day in my life. First of all, we're gonna start with the investigation. If you can see in this left-hand corner, this is what they found, nothing. They couldn't even lift a fingerprint. So how could I be convicted of a crime that I did not do? If they couldn't convict, they really didn't want to do the crime scene because they admitted that the crime scene had already been trampled through.
The Wendy's Massacre. Our final descent into darkness takes us to Flushing, New York, on a day that began like any other at a local Wendy's restaurant. But as night fell on May 24th, 2000, the establishment became the stage for a harrowing act of violence. 7 employees were corralled by a former colleague, John Taylor, and his accomplice, Craig Godineau, under the guise of a staff meeting. In the cold confines of the freezer, they were bound, gagged, and systematically shot in the head.
Get a call on the intercom, which was Gene telling us to come downstairs. We having a meeting.
But there was no meeting. The place was being robbed. All 7 employees duct taped.
The manager popped the tape off his hand, pulled it off his face, and it was like started breathing funny, like, yo, my asthma. And then they beat him up, put more duct tape on him, and picked everybody up, walked us in the freezer. That's when they came in with plastic bag. They tied it over the manager's head first. I was like, oh, they're about to suffocate us. It basically was an execution.
The garbage bag didn't cover Johnson's right eye, and he witnessed pretty much everything.
The brutality of the crime shocked the nation. 5 lives were extinguished, leaving families shattered and a community grappling with the senseless loss. The 2 survivors bore witness to the atrocity, their calls for help painting a grim picture for first responders. The trial that followed captured the public's attention as the depth of the betrayal and the premeditated nature of the robbery-homicide unfolded in court. Taylor's sentence to death, later commuted to life imprisonment, and Godineau's life sentence brought a measure of justice, but the scars remain.
Hit the manager, and once I hit the manager, John reached over and shot him, and once he reached over and shot him, he shot the female. That's when he told me to finish it. And I said, finish what? He was like, you gotta finish everybody, you gotta kill everybody. I don't know why I didn't stop them. I don't know why. Do I remember their faces? He gave me $300 and a gold coin.
$300 for 7 people shot.
Yeah, I think about them. I said a prayer for them. I feel remorse.
The stories of the burger chef, KFC, and Wendy's murders are stark reminders of the darkness that can lurk behind the most mundane places. As we conclude the fast food tragedies, we remember the victims and continue to seek answers in the pursuit of justice. We thank you for joining us on Crime Films. May these narratives serve not only as a chronicle of past events, but as a catalyst for change and understanding. Until next time, stay aware, keep your eyes open, and stay safe.